We're very interested, and the full committee is very interested in this. I think it would be illustrative to bring in some people who could tell us some stories about people not coming to work. I do recall that when the baby formula problem happened and the baby formula was contaminated, we had the heads of 3 agencies or 4 agencies, and one of the senators asked the question, when was the last time you were in the office? Most of the heads of the agencies, like the head of the CDC, FDA, they hadn't been in the office for a month. So we need to talk about this, and if nothing else, we got to shame some people to going back to work. There has to be some metrics. The private practice works because you have profit and somebody monitors your work. If you're not being monitored and there is no profit number to see whether you're doing any work, it's impossible. But let's work together on maybe doing a hearing on this in the near future. With regard to the regulations, Senator Scott brought up some of the different regulations, and it brought to mind a couple of things. We had a bridge collapse in Kentucky a few years ago. A tugboat hit it. And so I thought, well, they tell you these NEPA regulations take like 3 or 4 years to get. Maybe we should have an exemption. If your bridge falls down and you're going to build the bridge in exactly the same place, you don't have to do any NEPA review at all. And I think I got about 20 votes or whatever, 15 votes. We couldn't even pass an amendment, that common sense, saying it's going in the same place. It reminds me of one other quick anecdote, then we'll go back to a couple of questions. Did you see the story recently about the snail darter? So apparently the snail darter was discovered back in the 70s when they were building a dam in Tennessee. And now they've got somebody to admit that, well, he told people at the time, this will stop the dam. It's a new species. And apparently now they've done all these genetic testing, and it's not a new species. And the more they looked, the more they found the snail darters everywhere. We had a dirt darter in Kentucky, must be a relative of the snail darter, and we had to lower one of our lakes by 30 feet where there's a lot of marinas and recreational activity. And while the dam was lowered to rebuild an earthen dam, Lordy, they found some dirt darters in a river, and they said we can't fill we don't want to fill the lake back up because we'll hurt the dirt darter. My question was, it's a fish, doesn't it like water? But I mean the craziness of all this stuff. And one more, we have the pocketbook mussel. It's been listed on the Endangered Species Act. Have you ever seen mussels? They are everywhere. Any pond, lake, creek's got mussels everywhere. So this was put on the endangered species list, and then for the last 20 years they've been looking for it. Everywhere they look, they find it. There's no endangerment, but somebody put it on the list, and it's a scam. So we had a sewage plant in a city was overflowing with sewage into the lake. Nobody wants that, so we wanted to build a new one in a little town in Kentucky. First, we got to get a consultant, 100 grand, 150 grand for this tiny little town to study the pocketbook mussel population and Indian artifacts. And all it does is it enriches the consultants. It lasts 2 or 3 years to get it done, slows everything down. But this isn't a question. This is just this is a rant. Anything you can do to fix that stuff, I'm all for you. Tell us what we need to do to fix it. We're going to do another round. We're going to start with Senator Peters for 5 minutes.